Afternoon, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times. It's Monday, June 29th with news from Arkansas. I think we'll start where we finished the week last week on the momentous same-sex marriage case in which the U.S. Supreme Court declared it was a right for everybody nationwide. The news in Arkansas was that at 5:10 p.m. Friday, after we recorded this program Friday afternoon, the Arkansas Supreme Court was finally heard from on a case that had been in its court for really 13 months since it first issued a stay in the case. And it issued a 3-sentence order Friday afternoon that said the case was dismissed. Since the U.S. Supreme Court was ruled, there was nothing left for it to say. This meant that for 8 months after the court declared this an expedited case, the Arkansas Supreme Court was unable to issue a decision and never did in the same-sex marriage case. I did some reporting over the weekend that reveals from a variety of anonymous sources that there was a strong push in the court to delay the decision, and to delay this decision. Hopefully, I guess, it's so that the Supreme Court would take them off the hook. The events included a vote last November to uphold Judge Piazza, a decision that was never released, and then a vote in June reportedly to reverse Judge Piazza, with, interestingly, Courtney Goodson, a justice who has higher political ambitions to run for Chief Justice in 2 years, on both sides of the decision. Court deliberations are secret. One member of the Supreme Court, Rhonda Wood, who I've been told lobbied aggressively to get into the case and ended up being against same-sex marriage, she has a Republican background, has issued an enigmatic but very unhappy post on Twitter today. Not a good thing for a Supreme Court justice to be doing in the first place. I think it's a response to the reporting we've done on this case. They can release the record and make things clear. The Judicial Discipline and Disability Commission is reviewing the Supreme Court's action in this case because of a complaint it's received about the way the court delayed this case. I don't know if it will see any ethical misconduct finding in this case, but there is no doubt that the case was delayed far beyond the limits by which it should have been delayed. It's one of those cases that's sort of open and shut no matter what the bureaucratic niceties of the situation are. Case isn't going away soon. The Alabama Supreme Court today ordered probate judges not to issue any marriage licenses to same-sex couples for 25 days, at least until the technical end of the U.S. Supreme Court case. But there's talk in Texas and elsewhere of clerks resisting issuing licenses on a religious pretext. I don't think the law allows them to avoid doing their statutory duties, citing that as a reason not to do it. It's not a religious act to grant a marriage license. You're required by law to do it. You pledge to uphold the Constitution. But people like Senator Jason Raper in Arkansas are trying to encourage people to do that. I hope they do. I hope some people go to jail for refusing to follow the law, or else that they resign their jobs. If they don't want to do their jobs, they should leave them. It's pretty simple, really. But we're going to see some more trouble on this before it's over. More news from the U.S. Supreme Court today in cases that have relevance in Arkansas. They blocked the Obama administration's desire to have tougher rules on mercury emissions from power plants. Most Arkansas power plants have been fixed to meet this requirement, but this could have some implications on a broader rule on carbon emissions. The issue before the Supreme Court today, they said they hadn't taken enough consideration of the cost of these improvements into account. So that's an issue also in the carbon case. The Supreme Court said it was okay for states to set up into commissions to do congressional redistricting. This is a good thing to avoid political gerrymandering. We don't do it in Arkansas. Republicans, where they control legislatures, don't like independent commissions because they want to gerrymander, of course. The case with most relevance to Arkansas was the Supreme Court's 5-4 decision to allow the use of a very controversial drug in Oklahoma for executions. It was a drug used in a gruesomely botched execution in Oklahoma not very long ago. The news has prompted both the Attorney General of Arkansas and the Governor, Asa Hutchinson, saying they want to move ahead and get the execution machine going again in the Arkansas prisons. There's still a lawsuit that's going to have to be settled before that day can come. There was a strong sentiment on the minority in the 5-4 decision before the U.S. Supreme Court that maybe it's time for an end to the death penalty altogether. It's not evenly applied. Innocent people have been put to death. The cost is enormous. There are any number of reasons, but I think Arkansas will be at the end of that movement should it ever arrive. Other interesting news today, Attorney General Leslie Rutledge has filed in yet another lawsuit with other states to oppose yet another clean water rule, this one that expands the bodies of water covered by the Clean Water Act. She says it could be damaging to agriculture. The Obama administration says the only people that don't want clean water rules applying to more bodies of water are people who want want to dump pollution materials in them. I think there's probably some support for that point of view. NBC today said it was going to drop its business relationship for Donald Trump. He finally said too many unpleasant things about Latinos and what criminals they were. It doesn't want anything more to do with him. Interestingly enough, the same day I got a note from the Arkansas Republican Party touting how many Arkansas Republicans are thrilled to death to be buying tickets to see that very same Donald Trump at a fundraising event in Hot Springs later this month. And finally, the flag just won't go away. You'll find on my blog some interesting reporting from Batesville where they're still flying a Confederate battle flag outside the county courthouse. I guess they haven't gotten the news in Batesville yet that war ended 150 years ago. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.